What's up, guys? Surface preparation, or lack thereof, is one of the biggest causes of failures for coatings, linings, and composite systems. Today I'm going to give you 2 things you need to know in order to make your system last as long as possible. Now, one of the big things with surface preparation is a lot of people confuse surface cleaning with surface profiling, or the preparation after the cleaning is done, right? And so for you guys, and the 2 things that you need to know is that those 2 are very, very separate. So the first one, the surface cleaning, that's what we talk about. We talk about pressure washing, degreasing, descaling, getting any salts, anything like that off of the surface. One of the big things that most people are familiar with is like a chloride wash for removing your salts, your chlorides, your nitrates, your sulfides, your sulfates, things like that, right? So that's your surface cleaning, okay? And so the second part of this that comes after is your surface profiling, right? And that's actually giving your anchor pattern for your coating, your lining, your composite, whatever it may be, to actually adhere to your surface, okay? And with this, let's take a step back to the surface cleaning. So again, this is removing anything that's on the surface. It can be rust, right? Oftentimes cleaning does include blasting, which will leave a profile, but for our sake, we're gonna say cleaning is just removing any foreign substances, anything that's on that surface, and getting it as clean as possible, something that you could eat off of, right? Get it as clean as possible prior to your surface profile. And why this matters is when you're doing the cleaning, as I mentioned, you're removing your grease, you're removing any salts, you're putting on potentially a whole blast. But what we're doing with that is we are preparing the surface to then profile. Because if we don't do this, when you profile it, right, and you're blasting your surface with whatever the media is that you're using, or you're grinding on it, whatever that may be, if you don't clean the surface properly and then you blast, you are in essence blasting those imperfections, those impurities back into the surface, which will cause subfilm corrosion or chemical attack or just delamination in general, right? So we're gonna clean that surface first, pressure wash, degrease, both, whatever that may call for. The second part, once this is all done, right, once we clean the surface, we're gonna come over here and now we're gonna blast. Okay, and so when I work to specify a system, I specify how it needs to be cleaned, or what we want to see, and most of the time it's always the same as we just talked about. And the second part is what that profile is going to be. Now when we go into the profile, this is going to vary greatly. If we're doing a thin film system, and by thin I may even include this with our solvents. Typically I'm dealing with 100% solids, but let's go one step above that and say solvent systems, things that are going to be 1 mils, 2 mils, 5 mils, something real thin. Then that profile that we're going to use is going to be something thinner, a 1 or a 2 mil anchor profile. And as a good rule of thumb, you want that to always be less than what your final thickness is going to be, so that you don't have any peaks coming out. If I do a 3 mil anchor profile and put on 1 mil of coating, I'm going to have exposed metal. Okay, so then I'm going to do that anchor profile. Now, say I'm going with a thin film system, but it is 100% solids epoxy. So for us, we're talking a 15 to 20 mil system. That's where we're going to do generally a 3-4, maybe upwards to a 6 mil anchor profile to allow that epoxy to bite into it. Again, all of this will vary, because if you're doing primers, then you may, you won't follow that rule, because your primer is going to go on potentially thinner than what your actual profile was specified as. But that is a good rule. And then when I'm doing thicker materials, or paste grade materials, or you're doing concrete, that's where we're going to step into potentially higher mil profile surfaces, 7 mils, 8 mils, 10 mils. A lot of your roads, when you see people scarify the roads prior to fixing them, those are actually like 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 inch deep to allow that to bite in, and that's more a function of just the fact that what they're putting down is so thick, right? So to recap for you guys, again, we're doing surface profile or surface cleaning, which is going to be, again, power washing, degreasing, getting any impurities off it, using things like a chloride wash to remove any soluble salts down to a level that is allowable. And then we're doing surface profile, and that's where we're actually blasting the surface to potentially remove any rust staining, and then actually impart a profile onto the surface for mechanical bonding with the coating, the lining, or the composite, and really getting some teeth to bite in for good adhesion. So hope this is helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, drop a comment down below, and as always, I give you information in general terms so that you can use this with your supplier, your distributor, your manufacturer, whoever you're working with, so you can be better prepared, ask more questions, and get the most out of your system. So appreciate it, guys. Take care. Godspeed.